Chapter 8. The Outsider. "You son of a—" Jason's voice, sharp with anger and disbelief, sliced through the silence as he locked eyes with Chris, who had just made an unexpected entrance. The charged atmosphere seemed to pause, every gaze shifting towards the unfolding confrontation. Chris paused at the doorway, momentarily taken aback by the hostility that greeted him. His eyes, dark and unreadable, swept over the faces of his former friends, landing finally on Jason. The silence that followed was suffocating, each person seemingly holding their breath, waiting for the inevitable explosion. "I see not much has changed, and you guys are still pissed," Chris finally spoke. "Why are you here, Chris?" Jason demanded, his stance tense and aggressive. Before Chris could reply, Mario echoed the sentiment. "Yeah, Chris, why are you here?" Holding the room's attention, Chris finally said, "Tara invited the whole group here, didn't she? And last I checked, I'm still part of that group." His simple yet bold statement hung in the air, challenging the room to dispute his logic. The room, charged with a sudden intensity, felt more diminutive, the air thick with anticipation of Chris's response. Tara stepped in, her voice calm yet firm, embodying the role of peacemaker. "Let's remember where we are, please. This is a place of celebration, not conflict," she urged, glancing around her restaurant with a plea for peace. "We're here to enjoy the night, the company, and the food." Her glance at Chris was pointed, but not without a hint of understanding. Though still processing his sudden appearance, the rest of the group gradually began to re-engage with one another, the initial shock of the confrontation giving way to a cautious curiosity about the night ahead. Chris settled into the seat at the end of the table, right next to Ashley, who was visibly trying to make sense of the tension-filled exchange she had just witnessed. Attempting to bridge the gap, Chris turned to her, his voice carrying a mix of friendliness and an underlying somberness. "Hey Ashley, how have you been?" "I've been good, thanks, but what the hell did I just walk into?" she asked, her eyes searching Chris's for some explanation. Chris sighed. The weight of recent events momentarily clouded his expression. "It's a long story," he admitted, suggesting a complexity and depth to the situation beyond casual dinner conversation. Before tensions could escalate further, the arrival of servers carrying bottles of wine offered a momentary pause in the conversation. Each bottle, with its label promising a taste of luxury, was uncorked and poured with a practiced grace that commanded attention. The refined and expensive wine piqued Ashley's curiosity to the point where she discreetly checked the price on her phone. $2K a bottle, she whispered under her breath, her eyes widening in disbelief. Goddamn. As the group took their first sips of the exquisite wine, appreciating its depth and quality, servers followed up with the first round of appetizers. As the group began to enjoy their appetizers, Ashley noticed Jason struggling somewhat awkwardly to manage his utensils. Moved by a combination of compassion and curiosity, she offered her assistance. "Need a hand with that?" she asked, her tone light yet genuine. It was an opportunity to aid Jason and delve into the story behind his condition, which had piqued her interest ever since she noticed his missing hand. Jason, a bit surprised but grateful, nodded his appreciation. "Thanks, Ashley," he said, managing a smile. Ashley leaned in slightly, her voice low but tinged with undeniable curiosity. "So I couldn't help but notice, you know," she gestured vaguely towards Jason's hand. "What the hell happened to you?" With the spotlight unexpectedly on him, Jason saw an opportunity and decided to lean into it, concocting the most outlandish story he could think of on the spot. "Well, I was on this yacht, right? Surrounded by some of the most powerful people you can imagine. Everything was going smoothly until the yacht's anchor got stuck. Being the adventurous soul I am, I decided to dive in and check it out, armed with a knife." He paused for effect, ensuring he had Ashley's full attention. "There I was, in the deep blue, with my shirt off, when out of nowhere a tiger shark decides I'm its next meal. We battled, just me and this massive shark, thrashing in the water. Ultimately, I managed to scare it off, but not before it got a piece of me." The room was dead silent for a heartbeat after Jason finished his tale, and then it erupted into laughter, the tension that had lingered in the air dissipating instantly. His friends appreciated the humor, the ridiculousness of his story, serving as a momentary relief from the evening's earlier strain. After the laughter subsided, Jason caught Ashley's eye, still chuckling. "Honestly, I don't feel like talking about it. Maybe I'll tell you over dinner someday," he said, the jest evident in his voice, though the underlying truth was that he wasn't ready to share that part of his story just yet. After the laughter and the tall tales subsided, Ashley found her way back to her seat beside Emmanuel and Chris, her mind still racing with questions. The atmosphere at the table was a curious mix of camaraderie and underlying tension, and she felt a substantial, almost palpable shift from the group she once knew. Determined to get to the bottom of this transformation, she took a sip of her champagne, resolving to observe and listen closely. As the group savored sips of champagne, Tara gracefully rose from her seat, commanding the room's attention. "I'd like to propose a toast," she began, her voice warm and excited. "First, to Ladarius, who's just made a significant leap by purchasing a building for his private security firm. Your ambition and dedication are truly inspiring." The room filled with applause and cheers, glasses raised high in Ladarius's honor. Tara continued, turning her gaze towards Alex and Olivia. "And let's not forget Alex and Olivia, who are on the brink of opening their mortuary. It's not just a business, it's a service to the community, and we're all so proud of you both." Once more, the group toasted, their enthusiasm palpable in the air. Tara smiled, her eyes sparkling with pride for her friend's achievements. "Lastly, I want to acknowledge Kim and her new venture, the beauty bar. Kim, you've created a space that's more than just about beauty. It's about feeling good in our skin. Congratulations on bringing your vision to life." The group's applause was heartfelt, a collective expression of their support and admiration for each other's successes. Glasses clinked, and the room buzzed with conversations of congratulations and future aspirations, a testament to the bond and shared journey of this remarkable group of friends. Amidst the celebrations, Ashley couldn't help but express her amazement. "Well, dang, y'all are making big moves," she remarked, her tone playful yet tinged with genuine surprise. "You guys must have hit the lottery or something," she added with a laugh, expecting her comment to blend into the festive mood. However, her words seemed to echo louder than intended as a sudden hush fell over the group. The laughter and chatter that had filled the air moments before now gave way to an awkward silence. Nobody confirmed or denied the lottery win, but the sudden quiet spoke volumes. Realization dawned on Ashley as she looked around the table, taking in the luxurious setting, the high spirits, and the significant life changes her friends were experiencing. The puzzle pieces began to fall into place, her playful guess about the lottery win landing too close to the truth for comfort. Ashley's excitement bubbled over as she put the pieces together. "Hold on, so y'all won the lottery?" "Really? I can't believe it. It all makes sense now. The Rolex, the Audi key, the luxury clothes, this fancy restaurant. It all makes sense. How much did you guys win? Come on, you can tell me." Sensing the tension, but also an opportunity to bridge the growing divide, Chris chimed in. "Well, it ain't no use in lying to her. She already figured it out. And since you guys are ignoring me, we might as well tell her the truth. Yes, Ashley, we hit pretty fucking big." Mario, his patience wearing thin, snapped at Chris. "Shut the hell up. Now why would you tell her that? We don't need outsiders knowing our business." Ashley, taken aback by Mario's reaction, retorted, "Outsider? I was part of the group for a long time. I am not an outsider." Ashley's frustration softened into a rueful admission, the sting of missed opportunity evident in her voice. "You know, I realize now that leaving the group was a mistake. I wish I had stayed longer, seen it through with all of you." Mario's response was tinged with sarcasm, not missing a beat to highlight the irony in her hindsight. "Yeah, you left when you should have stayed. And to be honest, it's been months since we've heard from you. You don't mess with us like that." Ontario, seizing the moment to highlight the awkwardness of Ashley's presence, couldn't help but add, "And now here you are out of the blue. You're not even supposed to be here tonight. You can thank Emmanuel for that one." Emmanuel, bolstered by a supportive glance from Kim, retorted, "Well, what does that mean, Ontario? We're all grown adults here. We can invite whoever we want. So what's the problem? Ashley is our friend, after all." His tone, while maintaining a veneer of calm, couldn't completely hide the undercurrent of challenge in his words, making it clear he wasn't backing down from his decision. Antarial, seizing the moment to emphasize her point, shot back with a mix of frustration and shade. "Emmanuel, your open-door policy might be noble, but it's not just Ashley walking through that door. It's the potential for more chaos she brings with her. We're not exactly in a position to play happy families with everyone who used to be in the group." Her tone was sharp, her words an apparent jab at Ashley's unpredictability and Emmanuel's decision-making, underlining the precarious balance they were all trying to maintain. Catching the undercurrents of tension directed at her, Ashley couldn't resist adding a touch of wit. "You guys do realize I'm sitting right here, right?" she said, her voice laced with humor, yet carrying a hint of discomfort. After a brief pause, she added, Well, I can leave if I'm not wanted. Emmanuel, quick to smooth over the rough edges of the conversation, reassured her. No, Ashley, you're good. You can stay. Ain't that right, guys? His glance swept across the group, seeking affirmation. Most of the group murmured their agreement, a mix of yeah, she's fine, and nods, except for Mario and Ontario. Their silence spoke volumes, their expressions starkly contrasting with the reluctant acceptance of the others, highlighting the divisions still present within the group. Another round of expensive champagne was brought out to the group. Michelle, always seeking to mend rifts within the group, raised her voice to be heard above the burgeoning unrest. Guys, I've been doing a lot of praying lately about a lot of things, and one thing has become clear to me. We should find it in our hearts to forgive Chris, she declared, her eyes scanning the room, hoping to find allies in her stance. The room remained silent, her appeal seemingly falling on deaf ears. With a deep breath, Michelle continued, her resolve unwavering. Well, regardless of how everyone else feels, Chris, I want you to know I forgive you. My door is always open to you. Her statement hung in the air, a lone beacon of forgiveness in a room still shadowed by past grievances. In the midst of this, Chris's gaze drifted across the table, landing on Jason. In response, Jason, with sarcasm and lingering frustration, casually lifted his hand and extended his middle finger towards Chris, a silent gesture that spoke volumes about his unresolved feelings towards the situation. Mario, seizing control of the moment, said, "All right, let's not waste more time. Time to vote. Who wants Chris to stay in the group?" Chris, with a hopeful look, tentatively raised his hand. Michelle quickly followed, showing her support. Emmanuel hesitated, but eventually raised his hand too, though Mario's dismissive glance made it clear he was less than pleased. "Well, look at that," Mario remarked with a sneer. "A couple of sympathizers, but remember majority rules." Not entirely surprised by the outcome, yet visibly grateful for Michelle and Emmanuel's support, Chris sighed deeply. "This is messed up," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "None of this was supposed to happen. You guys know we are family." Unfazed and cold, Mario retorted sharply, "Well, you used to be family, Chris, but not anymore. You'll still have access to your money, but you are no longer part of this friend group." In frustration, Chris slammed his fist on the table, making glasses and silverware jump. Catching his breath, he looked around the room, his gaze hardening. "Fine," he said, his voice low and menacing. "Remember, even the most loyal dog will bite if you back it into a corner. You'll see." With that, he stood up, pushed his chair back, and walked out, leaving a tense silence behind. As Chris walked out, he paused at the doorway, turning back to deliver one last parting shot. With a smirk, he said, "Oh, and by the way, the food was trash." About 30 minutes later, the group had finished their desserts, each expressing their gratitude to Tara for an exquisite dining experience. The atmosphere had lightened somewhat, a testament to the food quality and the company. Suddenly, the serenity of the moment was shattered. A waiter burst into the room, his face pale with urgency. He leaned in to whisper something into Tara's ear, his words inaudible but alarming. Tara's expression changed instantly. She excused herself and hurried out of the room. Moments later, she reappeared, her composure shaken. "Mario, your car is being towed!" she exclaimed, panic lacing her voice. The group, taken aback by this sudden turn of events, rushed to the windows and outside, disbelief etched on their faces. Outside, the scene was chaotic. Chris, smirking from the driver's seat of a tow truck, had Mario's car hoisted on the back, ready to be hauled away. As he caught sight of Mario and Jason peering out from the crowd, he locked eyes with them, a defiant gesture that spoke volumes. With a mocking laugh, he flipped them the finger. A final act of provocation before he accelerated the truck, pulling away into the night, leaving the group in stunned silence, grappling with the audacity of his actions. Mario, Jason, and Ontario stood, fuming with anger, as the taillights of the tow truck disappeared into the night. The shock of seeing Mario's car being towed away by Chris, of all people, was a bitter pill to swallow. Meanwhile, Alex, Ladarius, and especially Emmanuel couldn't contain their laughter. The absurdity of the situation, combined with the sting of Chris's parting shot, was too much for them. They were doubled over, finding humor in the unexpected revenge Chris had exacted. Ladarius, catching his breath between laughs, managed to mock Mario in jest. "Well, you used to be family, Chris, not anymore." His imitation of Mario's earlier sternness only added fuel to their amusement. Alex, wiping tears from his eyes, chimed in with a grin. "I'd offer you guys a ride, but, got the two-seater out today." Ladarius nodded in agreement, Same here, man. Only room for one more, and that's my ego. Emmanuel, still chuckling, didn't even pretend to offer a ride. Amidst the laughter and teasing, Ashley stepped forward, watching the scene unfold with shock and amusement. I can take you guys home, I don't mind, she offered. A gesture of goodwill that momentarily bridged the gap between the laughter and the frustration that Mario, Jason, and Antarial felt. Before hopping into Ashley's car, Mario turned to Jason, his frustration still simmering beneath the surface from the night's upheaval. That car has a tracker on it, and it's late. I don't feel like dealing with Chris tonight, but mark my words, I'm getting my car back, he said, a determined edge to his voice that left no room for doubt. The ride with Ashley was charged with an unspoken tension. Ashley broke the silence first, attempting to bridge the gap that her absence had created within the group. Looking back, leaving the group was a mistake, and I felt that loss more than you know. Still processing the evening's events and his stolen car, Mario stared out the window, his thoughts on retrieving his vehicle without escalating things further. Jason, sitting in the passenger seat, responded, "Life moves on, Ashley. We've all regretted choices, but you can't just walk back in and expect things to be the same." Antarial, quiet for most of the ride, finally spoke up. "It's not just about the group, Ashley. It's everything that's happened since then. Trust isn't something that comes back easily." Ashley nodded, understanding the weight of their words. "I don't expect to undo the past or for you to trust me overnight. I just wanted to say, I've missed you all, and I'm sorry for how things turned out." The tension in the air was palpable, with each passenger lost in their thoughts about the evening's events. Pulling up to the luxurious hotel where Mario and Antarial had been staying during the construction of their new house, the grandeur of the building stood in stark contrast to the night's earlier chaos. As they prepared to exit the car, Mario and Antarial extended an offer to Jason. "You're welcome to crash in our penthouse suite tonight if you want," Antarial said, trying to bring some normalcy back to the evening. "Penthouse suite? Damn, how much did you guys win?" Ashley couldn't help but ask, her curiosity getting better. Without another word to Ashley, Mario and Antarial headed towards the hotel's entrance, leaving behind the weight of the night's revelations and confrontations. Jason lingered for a moment, turning back to Ashley with a small smile. "It was nice seeing you again, Ashley. I'm sure we'll meet again," he said softly, a hint of optimism in his voice despite the evening's tensions. After the tumultuous evening, Ashley found solace in the familiar world of her favorite video game. As she navigated through the digital landscapes, Trey, a mutual friend of the group, joined her in the voice chat. His casual inquiry into her night prompted Ashley to share the night's revelations. "It was crazy," she admitted, still trying to wrap her mind around the events. "They won the lottery, Trey, the one I left." Ashley confirmed. "Yes, and I'm so freaking pissed. I've got to figure out a way back in fast." Despite her irritation, she conceded it was late and promised to fill Trey in on the rest of the story the next day. Alone with her thoughts, Ashley contemplated her next steps, realizing what she had missed out on weighed heavily on her, fueling her determination to rekindle ties with the group. As she was about to turn in for the night, a notification caught her attention, a direct message from Jason. Curiosity piqued. Ashley opened the message to find Jason extending an invitation to dinner, offering to share the story behind his hand. Initially dismissive, Ashley saw no potential. Hell no, she thought at first. But then a plan began to crystallize in Ashley's mind. "Wait a minute," she whispered, a spark of intrigue lighting her eyes. "Jason might just be my way back in." Well, what an explosive chapter that was. You've just listened to another twist in the dark tale of We Hit. If your heart's racing and you're craving more, you know what to do. Smash that like button and hit subscribe. Things are about to get even bloodier, more deceitful, and thrilling. So stay with us and brace yourselves for the next chapter. Wow.